Today is a good day. I don't know about anybody else, but all of my packages seem to arrive at one time. So I've got a number of things actually. The core of this video is going to be a review of the Hyperlow RS frame, which I've been dying to have a look at. But just a couple of other quick things first. I received this today, which is way back. I reviewed the Halo RC frame, and I absolutely loved it. Little race frame, and at the time he sent me some experimental arms, some 3 and 4 inch arms, but there'd been a cock up at the factory, and the on the holes on them were actually 16 by 16 rather than 14 by 14, so I never got to try it. And I built it in a 5-inch format. Had a lot of issues with my build running Butterflight actually with an AIO, and subsequently changed it to Betaflight. It flew great. I messed around, had a really big number of crashes and broke an arm. So the other day I contacted Bloods from Halo RC and said, you know, I've broken an arm, can I whiz you some PayPal money and you send me another one? And today I got this through, which is 2 skinny 5-inch arms, 4-inch arms and 3-inch arms. So I'm going to have a ton of fun playing with that. And as the guys that I've been flying with at Norfolk FPV are in the process of setting up a racetrack, despite my tendencies otherwise, I'm going to do potentially a little bit of racing. The other thing that's arrived today is these Emax motors from Unmantech, and these are the 2306 2400, and gosh, they're pretty motors. Emax have made some really good motors. Obviously these are the RS2s. The other ones which are floating around are the LS series, and for a long time I've really wanted the LS series, simply because they were really light and put out tons of power, but I held off because there were lots of talks about them being really fragile. Basically multi-strand windings, open bottoms, and lots of people were having issues with the windings breaking and coming disconnected. So people sort of started adding a bit of epoxy to the bottom of them. So that's why I never bought them, but they're a cracking set of motors. So I'm trying out these Emax 2306. Because these are single strand, they should be a lot beefier in terms of resisting scraggle, etc. on the windings. So I'm really looking forward to testing those, and the plan is to put them on this guy, which is the Hyperlow RS. And if you've watched this channel a bit, you know I've got tons of Hyperlows. My day-to-day flyers are the Hyperlow CGs, which I absolutely love. I've got 2 of those. I've got Hyperlow Vert Freestyle and a Hyperlow Vert Race, and I did have a Hyperlow CG, but I sent that to a friendly subscriber in America because he loves that frame. So this is the RS, and this is basically a lightweight freestyle stroke race frame. And this should offer the things I like about the CG and some of the lightness of the race. So we've got Hyperlow battery straps, antenna mounts. Let's get this out. It seems like a lot of stuff in here. Hyperlow stickers. So we've got a top plate, slightly angled battery strap holes. Got a bottom plate with the press nuts, and I really like the Hyperlow ones. They're the best I've come across. They really allow you to get to lock tight. We have a battery pad. Got some little... thank you, Richard. On the Vert race, I messed up some of my press nuts, basically by cutting bolts short, and I didn't file the ends of them down, so I knackered the press nuts, screwing it through. So Richard's just sent me some spare ones to put on that frame. Thanks for that, mate. So let's have a look. So we've got a top plate, a bottom plate, and we've got arms. So these are the 5-inch arms. How many have I got? What have I got here? Yeah. And I've got 5 of those, which is awesome. And these are very slender arms, but they're also 5mm thick, so this should be pretty beefy. He's also sent me 4-inch arms, which are 4mm thick, I think. So what I'm going to do is put this together. We've got these bits as well. What I'm going to do is put this together, and then we'll see what we've got. So we've got a bag of hardware and the usual Hyperlow GoPro ramp. So yeah, so I'll put this together and we'll see what we've got. So there we have it, all put together. And as I said, if you look at this, you've got 5mm arms, 15mm standoffs, 2mm top and bottom plate. And if we go on to the bottom, you can see that the arms sandwich together, and then this plate acts as additional support. So the arms are super rigid. As usual, we've got the Hyperlow bumper at the front, which is always a really good idea, and we've got the 3D printed, should I say, camera mounts. And of course, if you want to use them, you also have the antenna tubes and mounts, which are pretty standard on Hyperlow. And it also comes with the usual GoPro or Runcam action cam couch. So what we've got here is a 5-inch stretched X race frame, which is also capable and happy to do freestyle. And this kind of takes what I liked about the Vert race and what I like about the CG and almost merges them together. The thing I loved about the CG is it's really easy to work on. The thing I liked about the Vert race is that it was very light. So in terms of weight, let's have a look at this guy. And I've built this in the heaviest possible configuration. So I'm using full steel hardware, and I'm also using the longest possible bolts for your flight controller stack. So in its worst possible configuration, it weighs 87 grams. With the Action Cam couch on, it weighs 96 grams. Now, I said I've built this in the heaviest configuration, and the reason I said that is it also comes with an optional titanium hardware pack. Now, I've got mixed thoughts about titanium. On a heavier freestyle quad, I'd stay well clear of it, certainly in terms of any areas where you need to hold arms, etc., because it bends pretty easily, and the heads also round off pretty easily. On a frame this light, I'm not 100% sure, if I'm honest, how it will hold up on this system, because the arms lock together. In theory, I would imagine titanium hardware will be absolutely fine. But because I tend to crash a lot, the way I'll make mine is I'll leave the steel hardware on the bottom and just use the titanium hardware on the top. With titanium hardware, it drops the weight down to 80 grams on the nose. So add another 9 grams if you're using this couch and you're looking at a freestyle frame of 89 grams or a race frame of 80 grams. Because I'm going to use half the titanium, I'm probably looking at a weight of 84, 83 grams, something like that. But at that weight, it should be really good for the sort of racing that I'm likely to do. Simply because it's got enough weight that it will be relatively familiar for me, but it's not going to be too light that I'm going to be fighting sort of altitude lift all the time. And because it's got these 5mm arms, it should be pretty strong. It certainly feels really well built, and like most Typalols, it just has those features that I really like. So you've got a really simple way to mount your antenna, and you've got the little pad. Obviously you've got the battery pad on top with 2 LiPo strap cutouts if you wish to use 2, and also on the bottom, if you notice, you've got a little cutout if you want to run a bottom mounted battery. You can do. The flight controller mounting is 30.5mm, however it also has 20 by 20mm mountings as well, and you've got a couple of zip tie holders front and back, obviously for your VTX and receiver, etc. The one thing this is missing, which I hoped it would have, is that I asked Richard to put an additional 20 by 20 mount at the back here, because I've got a VTX, the AKK one, which is 20 by 20, and that would have made it really easy to mount it. I mean, it's not a problem by any means, but basically what happened is Richard asked the factory to add in the extra 20 by 20 cutouts, and they didn't do so, and he asked me if I wanted to wait for the next batch, but I was pretty excited and I thought it's not that big a deal, and if it is, then I can simply just drill those holes out myself. So in terms of where this places, I really like it. As I said, my day-to-day frames are the CGs. I really wanted to like the Vert Race because it was pretty light, but if you have issues, it's relatively hard to work upon, and this kind of solves that issue for me. It's a freestyle frame if I wish it to be. It's a race frame if I wish it to be. I can use top mount or bottom mount, and it's light enough that it's going to be pretty quick around the track. The fact that I'm probably just going to totter around hitting gates day in day out is neither here nor there. The 4-inch arms weigh 11 grams less than the 5-inch arms, and on 4-inch I'd be tempted to run full titanium hardware, because you'll be looking at using much lighter motors. So if the frame is 80 grams as a 5-inch, it'll be 69 grams as a 4-inch, and obviously you'll then have a pretty lightweight 4-inch setup, capable of carrying a GoPro or a topper mounted battery. And one thing I'm sort of again considering, and I don't know if this will make it into my build, is basically just to use race wire on the arms, which will allow me to easily change between the 4-inch and the 5-inch arms, and then I can simply use, what mountings are these? Yeah, I can simply use 1407 motors, or even if I change my build around, even the 2204s on this particular quad. So I haven't decided how I'm going to build it. I'll probably build it with the Emax motors, simply because it's always fun to start off a new build with a brand new fresh set of components. I've also got the silly HG LRC 20 by 20mm ESC, which I got, and I don't have huge hopes for it, but if that works, that'll make for an exceptionally light build, and I think with these motors on, it's going to look the business. So yeah, so hope that was useful. Again, thanks to Rich at Hyperlow. Thanks to being so open to suggestions and providing a really good service. At the moment, this is only available from hyperlowframes.com, but hopefully Unmanned Tech in the UK will pick it up in the next batch, and we'll be able to buy them and get replacements for them there. So yeah, cheers for watching, guys. Gonna have a lot of fun flying this, and I like the fact that it can be run in a number of different ways. Thanks again. Cheers. Bye bye.